other different types of dementia, and depending upon where the difficulties lie, that in the illness determines the course of treatment.
You can. All you have to do is want to do it.
Yes.
Want to be it.
When you set your mind to it, and this is who you are, and
the grown men. We have the youth that we need to mentor, and we need to inspire, and we need to motivate. But I know, as a recent conversation between you and I, that you're also in the business of motivating grown men. Through that, I'm supposed to see God in it at every turn. So me going to the Sea of Galilee was to remind me of that, to refresh myself of that. It is all under control, that He does have it. It's just as clear as that fresh water that I saw.
You're Our Unity, hosted by LaShawn Walker, Tuesday nights, 6 p.m. PST.
Welcome, everyone, to You're Our Unity, a show that wishes to spread a spirit of peace and love in the world, one conversation at a time. We want to encourage you to fight for your life. No matter what challenges you're going through, what obstacles you may be faced with, what battles you may have right now, whether it's with your health, physically, mentally, or spiritually, I want you to stand up to it. I want you to look it dead in its face, and I want you to challenge it, and I want you to overcome it. If God hasn't given up on you, I don't think that you should on yourself. I am your host, LaShawn Walker. I'd like to welcome you in. Please like, share, and follow. Tag a friend, call a friend, text a friend, and let them know that we're on right now. I hope you guys had a wonderful week. I've had a nice, couple of days. My weekend was nice. I was, however, challenged today with a little sadness. Last week, my inner peace was kind of challenged. Well, today, my emotions was challenged. My little fur baby, my little Willow, she had an eye infection for a few weeks, and I just mistook it for an allergy. And unfortunately, she has a serious ulcer in her eye. She's got broken blood vessels. I was so hurt today, devastated by the news, because this is something that I could have handled a lot sooner. And unfortunately, I, just ignored it and thought that she was going to be okay, put some drops in her eye and she'll be fine. But unfortunately, it's a little bit more serious than that. And so today I was a little down in the dumps, but I'm always brought back to life and have the sun shining in me when I remember my purpose and I remember the reason for Tuesdays, and that is the You're Our Unity show. So I couldn't come in here all sad and down. My dog is doing fine, thank God. Please pray for her eyes. And I have some drops, and I just got some, really valuable information from my guest about how I can probably further treat her holistically. So I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope that whatever challenges that you have come against this past week, if any, that you are standing up to it and standing up proud and knowing that you're going to be able to get through it and handle it with no problem. Just stay faith-filled, stay prayed up, and just stay focused. I think that is really, really important at this time. I need to just stay focused on her health and her eyes healing, opposed to what I didn't do in order to save them and, prohibit them from actually getting as bad as they are. But again, it's been a day that I'm enjoying the weather. Finally, I looked for some sunshine. I found a couple of spots where I had some, so that definitely added some beauty to my day. I want to talk to you guys before we dig into the show about what I did this past week. And this past week, I had the honor to participate in an event that one of our guests, the beautiful Miss Nija Howard, put on for her organization, Young Men Strong. We honored and discussed her magazine venture, Thoughts Magazine. So this week in Unity in the Community. We're going to talk about this fabulous event that I was able to attend. It was amazing. They had so many participants, and basically, Nyjah talked about her Thoughts Magazine venture. She is going to be honoring young men in September. These honorees are just amazing men who have just done so much for their community and also who's contributed to the lives of other young men. Nyjah has had this organization for quite some time now, and she actually founded it because of her son, who at the time she was a single mother, and she saw all the violence and all of the police shootings and things of that nature happening with the young Black men in this world, and she felt that she needed to do something about it. She needed to make these young men realize that they are wanted and that they are needed and that they are loved. And so she created Young Men Strong to sort of pour into them, to mentor them, to show them that, all you have to do is just get the tools necessary for you to live a happy and healthy and fulfilled life. So the event was amazing. There are a lot of people came out. She had her team there. We're going to show a few pictures of that. And basically, she was just speaking to what she sacrificed for this moment to come to be. And she sacrificed a lot, actually. She was a single mother doing this by herself with all the odds against her. And it is amazing that her son turned out to be an amazing young man who was able to literally contribute like first 5 figures to the Young Men Strong organization. So on September 16th, you could put that back up, please. On September 16th, they're going to be having a Men's Day, honoring these very men that have been helping her build this organization into the powerhouse that it is today. I was so honored to be there, so grateful to even know her as a friend and seeing everything that she's doing to make sure that the young men in this world realize how amazing they are, the kings that they actually are, and what they actually have to contribute to this world. So it was amazing. It was great. And I want you guys to please follow Young Men Strong. And if you're interested in attending the event on September 16th, which Your Our Unity will be live streaming from, and I will be, interviewing the honorees and anyone there who's enjoying themselves. So please, please, please check them out on their website. So as I mentioned, Nyjah, she, sacrificed so much, not just for her son, but for other parents, young men that they have in their life. She sacrificed so much to make sure that they were equipped to not just be ready for this world, but to be ready for just relationships and to feel who they are from the inside and out. She is a very, very strong woman, and sacrificing all of those things, I feel that she became a survivor of her circumstances. Today, we're speaking just about that, being a survivor, no matter what the issue is. Maybe it's, an illness, maybe it's principalities that be, just life in general, mental problems, physical problems, whatever it is. If you're challenged with it, come out the victor. Don't become the victim. Be a survivor of that issue. Nyjah did it, and my guest has as well. So we're going to be talking to this beautiful lady today just about her journey, her survivor's story. Her name is Jenna Bradshaw, and the title of the show is A Survivor's Story. Jenna is a health and wellness expert. She is the author of A Survivor's Story and a holistic healing journey through cancer. She's founder of Holistic Human Performance, host of Holistic Human Performance podcast, and a 2-time cancer survivor. Jenna's journey led her through healing her fear of a cancer reoccurrence, sharing her story and experience with others in hopes to inspire them to enhance their well-being. She has combined experience in the health, fitness, and wellness industry for over a decade, coaching others who may be fearful of degenerative disease and health adversities like cancer, as it combines with her knowledge of how to optimize your health through nutrition, exercise, affirmations, energy healing, sound healing, and meditation practices. Her hope is that her story inspires you to act and declare ownership of your healing and health journey because it is your birthright. Please help me welcome the beautiful Jenna Bradshaw.
Hello.
How are you, my friend? Welcome.
I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited that you're here as well. We just had an amazing conversation even before the show started. And I just feel like we talked about everything, but there's still so much more to dig into.
Of course.
I thank you for your spirit, your light, your energy, and
Thank
just
you.
the fact that you're here to share your story and what it's like to be a survivor.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of women and men out there
Yep.
need to understand what that is exactly. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. So, Jenna Bradshaw, I usually start off the show with my guests, getting a little into their background,
Mhm.
how they were raised. Tell us a little about your childhood.
Okay. I grew up in a very holistic,
Mm.
fitness-driven family. We have a family fitness business.
Oh,
My
wow.
parents made sure that, we were very much involved in sports. And so when I was 3.5, I was diagnosed with leukemia.
Oh, wow.
Yep, that was near-death experience. I am also the oldest of 5.
Right.
So thankfully I had, my siblings to help me get through it. We're all very close. And with that,
Mhm.
that was a very challenging time for myself, my family, and thankfully came out on the other side.
Thank God.
Thank God.
What age, if you don't mind me asking?
I was 3.5.
3.5.
And
It
then
started. So when were you? Well, you got over
out of
it.
the woods around like 5, 6.
Okay.
I started going back to school at age 6,
Wow.
which ironically enough, I wasn't even able to really read.
Well, I would imagine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wasn't able to read. But today I'm an author, so it's really funny how that works out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So throughout, this journey, bounced back and was able to get back to school. My parents put me in dance to develop motor skills and,
Nice.
gain my health back and also just be with other kids.
Right.
And live, a childhood. And then from there, I became really involved in track and field. And so I ended up going over to Ithaca College
Okay.
after high school, and I ran track and field there and was an exercise science major.
Wow. So your parents' family started this fitness program or this fitness business way before
Way
you?
before.
Really?
So we've had our family fitness business, which is called Bradshaw Personal Fitness, for
Okay.
over 35 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yep.
So even your parents then obviously grew up with health and fitness being very important in your life.
Yep.
I love that. So now you're 3, you're 4, you're 5. Did you know what you were actually going through at that time?
No, and what's so interesting throughout the developmental stages,
Mhm.
I didn't really know. I thought other kids like went through that as
Right.
well.
Oh, okay.
You didn't. And to be honest, it's not like I went into like talk therapy or anything like
Right.
that. They had social work for those in the hospital, and
Right.
we were very much involved in
Good.
nonprofit organizations and giving back and things like that. But no,
You had no idea.
No, I kind of blocked it out, honestly. It was blocked
Wow.
out of my memory. And then every developmental stage, like a memory would come back
Right.
and a feeling, an emotion would come up, and it would kind of bring me to this point of like either this internal anger
Right.
that I didn't understand consciously, or, I kind of was just like, I'm over it. I'm
Right.
good. I'm moving on, kind of still stuck in that warrior
Yeah,
mode.
no, I get it. And plus, because of the fact that you were built around this fitness and this health and this make sure your mind, body, and spirit are all balanced, that you're
Yeah.
probably not even worried about it as long
No.
as you're showing up for the tasks,
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, I mean, leukemia, it never came back. You didn't have a reoccurrence as
No.
you're now a teenager. You had no issues growing up physically or medical.
No,
Okay.
so they did tell my parents, and I didn't know this at the time,
Mhm.
while I was going through this specific treatment, it was in 1995,
Right.
which much different treatment as it is now.
I believe.
And they said, hey, she might develop another form of cancer or illness down the road.
Wow.
Now, we didn't think anything of it. We kind of just went about our ways, and we're like, okay, if she, stays healthy, nutrition, fitness. And thankfully I was good.
Right.
And then at age 20, I was then diagnosed with thyroid cancer.
Wow.
Yeah. I was in college. It was the last 2 weeks of school.
Right.
Finishing up my junior year. I was studying for finals.
Right.
I was training for a state championship meet. And I went to the health center for a migraine,
Right.
which I did occasionally suffer from.
Okay.
And then, she's feeling, and then she gets down to my throat, checking the lymph nodes and thyroid. And then she's like, I saw her face kind of change.
Right.
And I was like, whoa, what
yep.
does that mean? And consciously, I never had a fear of cancer, but subconsciously I did.
Yes. Yes. Those were probably those visions and those feelings that you were just suppressing all that time.
And didn't even realize it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So let me ask you, like, your regimen as you're now a teenager and you have this healthy family and they have this fitness business. And I know that was like 24 hours, 7 days a week. What are you eating? What are you drinking? When are you working out? When are you going running?
Yep.
Like, I know it could have been a lot for you.
Yep.
But did you turn it into a healthy routine? Do you feel it sometime maybe you overdid it, or how did you manage that sort of pressure to just maintain that kind of healthy state all the time?
That's a good question, because at this point, if I look back at what because I was so involved in sports, I took that repressed emotion and I put it into that. However, I do look back and I'm like, because I wasn't into meditation and the things that I'm doing today, these tools I didn't learn about. I wasn't doing acupuncture. I wasn't doing breath work. I wasn't, just walking.
Right.
I wasn't just like relaxed and just walking.
Exactly.
I was kind of just like balls to the wall and just go.
Yeah.
Very much in that fire element, and not realizing that, okay, it's okay to just take a step back.
Yeah.
I was not acknowledging those emotions and just kind of pushing them to the wayside, or really just suppressing them down and doing a really hard workout, and then I'm good.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's kind of how it went. And although they were healthy habits, now I have a toolbox of different things that I'm now well equipped with.
Right.
Where, at that point, you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And it brought me to this journey. So
yes, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
So now you're 20 years old. You've been diagnosed with thyroid cancer. What first came over you at that moment? And I know you said that it probably, I'm sure, brought up all of those repressed feelings that you had from before, but what was your mindset at that moment? And number two, if you could share, what was your immediate thought of what you have to do next?
Yeah. I went immediately into warrior mode, and I also went into a mode of like, I'm good. I'm not doing this right now.
Right.
Because the protocol after that was, okay, she's the doctor at school, and she said, okay, you need to go see an endocrinologist.
Right.
And then you need to go get a biopsy because it was a 4.3 centimeter nodule.
Wow.
Yeah.
That you never noticed? You never felt anything?
Now that I look back, I noticed that my neck was a little bit, I guess thicker, I guess you could say, but it wasn't like a lump.
Right.
It wasn't like,
it's like muscle.
it was,
almost,
and I was lifting.
Yes.
I was lifting a lot of weight, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, like I'm just getting, I'm just getting stronger.
Yeah.
And so I didn't tell anyone.
Wow.
And that was one of the things that I had to work on, the
Right.
communication aspect of like all the things that I was feeling and going through, instead of just going right into warrior mode.
Right.
And then, had to get a biopsy. I was in Cayuga Medical Center. I remember going into like this basement alone. I was so scared.
I could imagine. Oh my God. And the fact that you did that alone, you went through that alone.
I didn't tell my coach. I didn't tell my parents because I knew the reaction. And again, warrior mode. I was like, I just want to compete. I just want to finish up my finals.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I
going
was
to be
20 years old.
This can't stop. This is not going to stop me.
Exactly.
And I beat it once. I could beat it again. Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was an exercise science major, but they don't really teach you that about the thyroid gland.
Right.
So I had to do my own research.
Right.
So thankfully, I have an amazing support system. So when I did finally call my parents and tell my coach, I had so much support.
Nice.
Everyone was around me, supporting me. With the for me though, when I look back, it was the receiving aspect of it.
Yeah.
I was kind of just like brushing it off, like, I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
So then brings me to the other stage in life where they were like, you have to come home and have basically interview these doctors. And I was like, guys, not going to work right now. I actually have
I got a life right now.
some things to do. Like, I am not going to finish my finals in fall time.
Right.
I want to go to state championship meet.
Oh my God.
And they told me that it wasn't like life threatening,
Right.
urgency in that nature. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to rock it out. And I ended up hitting personal records and finishing up with
thyroid cancer.
finishing a 3.8 GPA. So
What? Were you taking medication?
I am on nothing.
You didn't do any treatment?
Nothing.
No radiation, chemo,
Nothing. So basically what ended up happening after I was done.
Wow.
Yes. And also this goes in hand with patient advocacy. You need to do your own research.
Yes.
You need to talk to different doctors.
Yes.
A lot of people will talk to one doctor, and whatever that doctor says is the only thing that they're going to go with.
Yeah.
And people let fear take hold of them.
Yes. Very true.
And I'm glad I learned this and had this knowledge at a young age. So I always share this story. When I went to go interview, because remember, you're interviewing the doctors.
Right.
The doctors are not interviewing you.
Right.
So I walked in to one doctor, and younger guy. I asked him what the protocol was. My mom obviously came with me, and he said, "Okay, my protocol. I'm going to take out the whole thyroid. You're going to go on radioactive iodine, and then you're going to take medication." And I literally looked at him and I said, "That's not going to happen."
Absolutely not.
I stared him dead in the eye and
At
said,
20 years old.
20 years old. I said, "That's not going to happen."
Wow.
It might, and I wasn't too, I had a good developed intuition at that point in time,
Right.
but my body cringed. And that's when I knew, no, this
Yeah.
is not the doctor for
Yeah.
me. So I went to the second doctor, and I told the first doctor who I was going to see, and he goes, "Oh, I studied under him." I was like, "Oh, well, this is my answer."
Yeah.
So I went to the second doctor. He goes, "Listen, you're young. We're going to take out half the thyroid because it's encapsulated, and then no radioactive iodine, no medication. You'll be good." So I opted in for that.
Okay.
They removed half the thyroid, and I just celebrated my 10-year.
Oh my God.
In June.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh my God. That is amazing.
No treatment, no
Nothing.
medication, nothing. Fun fact, you can function on 1/3 of your thyroid.
Really now?
Yes.
And you're not on any medication for the rest of your life? You
Nothing.
don't, every 6 months you're
I
you have to get
go
a
for checkup
right?
every year for ultrasound and blood work, but that's it.
10 years.
Yeah.
God bless you, my friend.
Thank
That is
you.
amazing. And I'm sure the fact that you took the time to research,
Yeah.
because 20-year-old, you're scared. I don't know who to turn to. They have to know better than I know.
Yeah.
Just do what you need to do, because why? I have to continue being the person that I am and showing up to these challenges and these battles and these competitions that I'm sure you were in all the time. You just want to get there. So I am so impressed
Thank
that a
you.
20-year-old was like, no, I need more information on that.
Yeah.
So tell me, you growing up in this sort of fit, healthy family, was that education also, like job one to them as well? Like, we're researching information, we're
Absolutely.
holistic from the very beginning.
Absolutely.
So it was already part of your DNA.
It was already, it's in my blood.
It's ingrained in you. It really was. It was just a matter of how much further, with more information,
Yeah.
you're able to take it. So tell me about that journey. I
Yeah.
mean, considering now you're, thank God, 10 years cured.
Yeah.
However, I'm sure, it was a process of still trying to manage the fact that you don't want a reoccurrence. You want to make sure that this is gone completely. What did you do in terms of your health journey after that?
So I would say that in the beginning, I was in warrior mode. I wanted to get back to school. I wanted to compete. I ended up going back in September. I finished the 4 years, graduated on time. Yeah, I finished up, 3.9 GPA. And
Cancer got canceled, girl.
Yeah, got canceled.
Cancer got canceled. Not her school, not her degree. Cancer. I love it. So
Yes.
go ahead.
Yeah, and I would say that actually this is cool. So while I was competing in school, my coach would have a yoga instructor come in once a week, every Sunday.
Okay.
And we would do yoga. And that is where yoga kind of entered my life, I would say.
Okay.
And that's where I started to connect mind, body, soul.
Right.
And she was an amazing instructor. And so when I came back home, I would say I still was in warrior mode.
Right.
And it was part of the learning lesson that took me to this place.
Right.
Because then I started to take a deep dive into meditation, spirituality, the human energy system, kind of like the second piece
Yes.
of the foundation.
Yes.
So you have fitness and nutrition as the foundation, but you still have those building blocks.
Yes.
And, that was something that I kind of said to myself, why did I get cancer twice? Because I really do take care of myself. I'm very cautious with what I put in, on, and around my body.
Mhm.
How did this happen? And so I took a deep dive into holistic health, holistic living, herbalism,
Wow.
and the human energy system. I became a Reiki practitioner,
Wow.
integrative energy therapist, and just like kind of learned all these things that I could
Mhm.
that are under the umbrella of wellness and Eastern medicine.
Right.
That part that you're not taught about.
Right. Oh yeah. Exactly.
And there was this natural, innate wanting to learn within me.
Okay.
I was very intrigued.
Right.
And the more I learned, the more you go down like this rabbit hole.
Yes, yes. You're up
And it's
24
never ending.
hours, YouTube channel, reading all kinds of books. Trust me, I know.
Yes.
But that's why you're the expert, my friend. So
I try,
there you
I
go.
try.
Yes.
Ooh,
Woo, that's my.
whoops.
I hope you can still hear me back there. All right, so go ahead.
So, anyways, then that took me to this place of, I was still very heavily immersed in the fitness industry.
Mhm.
However, I kind of knew that there was something more for me. I
Right.
had this yearning of like, I know that there's something more, but it's not time yet.
Right.
Just keep learning, keep integrating.
Right.
And so with that, I was working with the family fitness business, still do that. But again, I kind of like had this breakthrough moment where I realized, oh my gosh, I didn't do the healing work around when I was 3.5 years old and around the trauma of
Right.
the throat and the thyroid
Right.
and the surgery.
Exactly.
And it kind of came to that point where I was like, I was getting migraines and I was still feeling great, but there were things that were happening that I kind of said to myself, all right, I need to take a step back right now.
Yes,
I need to
yes.
see what's really going on.
Right.
And so I kind of implemented those things onto myself
Nice.
and started testing these things out. And with that, so in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
I went to a routine ultrasound checkup. And I don't really share this too much, but I did write about it in my first book.
Okay.
I had like a little bit of a scare.
Mhm.
So they had to do another biopsy on the right side.
Right.
So there's still a nodule there, but it's completely benign. It's all good.
Okay.
And it, quite frankly, it was like I had a breakdown. I had
Yeah.
a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
I was hysterically crying in the car.
Yeah.
The lockdown had just happened.
Oh my God.
I was freaking out. And all of a sudden, like I was talking to two of my best friends, my mom, and all of a sudden I just had this like download of, you need to write a book. And I'm like, that's so wild. Okay.
Mhm.
So I started just getting involved with more nonprofit organizations. And there was something called the Digital Cancer Con.
Uh-huh.
And I get like sent in an interview for this.
Right.
And it would be a PowerPoint.
Okay.
And I got denied. But
Really?
the PowerPoint was the structure to my book.
Oh.
So I was like, oh my gosh, this is it.
Yes.
Like, this is what it is. And so I, again, took all the things that I've learned and I wrote a book. And I wrote about my story.
Wow. And
And-
use that as like the template?
Yeah, that was the
Really?
template. The PowerPoint was the template.
Oh my God. You see how when you just ask for it, even if it doesn't appear to you the way you thought or you wanted, it still comes to you.
Yeah, and even better.
And even better. Exactly. Because now look, and you wrote this book on your own, no
Yep.
help from, I love it.
Yep.
So what was the message in that first book?
So I wanted to share that you can take ownership of your health.
Okay.
Take your power back.
Yes.
We have this innate wisdom within our body to
Yes.
heal.
Yes.
When we put our focus onto a doctor, medication, even
Mhm.
supplements,
Mhm.
external things, it takes the power away from us.
Yeah.
And it really, your body has this innate way of healing.
Yeah.
And so if you take that power away, it's going to be more challenging for you to go down this healing journey.
Yes, yes.
And, you know, everything happens for a reason and all in divine timing.
Of course.
However, I think, and this is why I do what I do, like if you can learn these things sooner,
Yeah.
maybe you don't have to go through a health adversity.
Thank you. I totally agree with that. And I think it's about building that peace, that foundation of peace within you.
Yeah.
That whatever will be will be.
Yeah.
And it is, you know, obviously for your good, as long as, of course, you put towards the action.
Yes.
Which is why I said, fight for your life. You may hear some very bad news. And I'm sure hearing cancer for other people is a death sentence for them. For you, you were ready to fight.
Yes.
For others, they're ready. Like my sister, unfortunately, I don't feel like she gave it all that she could have.
And I see it all the time.
And it's really sad because it's a mental thing. And if you were to release all of that and just, like you said, just allow that peace to come within you, to meditate, to get connected with your inner self, I think that she would have had a better journey, you know, even if, you know, obviously the prognosis wasn't going to be what we would have hoped, at least she would have enjoyed living in those moments, you know, and that's what I think a lot of people miss out on when they don't fight. So I love that you did that. You went into warrior mode, but you were still hurting.
Yeah.
So I need to know, when did you realize that the feeling, I guess, the rush of you know, your body feeling like it's energized and it's doing what it's supposed to do really wasn't helping your mind?
Yeah. So once I started writing the book, I think that shifted my energy 360. There was this innate fear within me of a cancer reoccurrence.
Wow.
It's scary.
Yeah.
However, like you said in the beginning, you don't want to be a victim. You want to be a victor of your life. And when we are stuck in this victim mentality of the why me, and honestly, like I look back and I said, oh my gosh, I was stuck in that why me mentality. Why did this happen? How could I get cancer? I'm so healthy. And once you like shift that perspective and change your mindset, it changes the entire trajectory of your life.
Yes.
And other people come into your life. Writing a book. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten that, I call it a download, if, you know, I wasn't, if it wasn't that time to do, like I had to go through that unfortunate event in order to be like, okay, it's time to write.
Yes.
And when I started writing, I call it, so it's something called automatic writing, kind of where you go into, I didn't know what it was called at the time.
Right.
I would go into this meditative state and I would just write.
It would just flow
and
out
it would
of
just
you.
flow out of me, and then I would reread it and be like, I don't remember writing that.
Wow.
Yes.
That's because it was downloaded and that was your purpose.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That is amazing.
Yes.
So you had to go through all of that.
I had to. I had to.
And you had to tackle it at the moment that you did to understand the warrior mode
version
versus the winner, the victor, the person that is actually just complete on the inside and out, and not just in this pretty package of health. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always talk about how we have this skewed version of health in our society. And, you know, if one day you're feeling like 40%, if your 40% is 100% and all you got is a walk in you, fine, do that. Like, are you moving throughout the day? You don't really need to go 100% hard at the gym every day. Like, there are other ways to move your body. And movement is the foundation to everything. Food is the foundation to your health and everything and how you fuel your energy. However, do you know your own energy? Do you understand yourself? Do you know your non-negotiables? Do you know your boundaries? And so what I wrote about in the book and what I wanted to do was bridge the gap between science and spirituality. Because it's shown and research proven how effective spirituality is to our health and well-being.
Definitely.
And so with that, I started doing research. Actually, one of the first books that really opened my mind to all of this was Winning the War on Cancer by Sylvie Beljansky. And she spoke about these 7 different personality traits, cancer for cancer susceptible people. And, you know, when you think about the word cancer and you look into the energetic meaning of it, what is eating you up inside? What is eating you up inside alive? What resentment?
Exactly. You're eating yourself up alive. You're absolutely right. And if you don't allow that positive energy, and it's so funny that you say that. The support system, just the energy around you, the people that you allow in their space, the things that you download in your mind. My girlfriend's sister, who I love very dearly, she's my friend as well. She got diagnosed with cancer, and it's in multiple places in her body. And, you know, the average person would literally just give up. This woman, when I tell you, learning every treatment, trying to get educated on every nutritional information she can possibly learn, in addition to going to various doctors and interviewing various doctors, asking them questions about her treatment and not letting them tell her about what they think her treatment means. And what I have found, she is living a beautiful life right now. She is so full of light. In addition to, I feel so much healthier now than she was probably before she got diagnosed with this cancer, because she's 100%. Mindful now of everything, and not just for the physical part, but the mental part as well. And the support of everyone, all of us that we go visit her regularly, we're constantly in the chat, just encouraging her and spreading just such love. It is so important to the health and the hope of that person that's going through something. So let's speak to that real quick, because I'm sure
you read my mind.
Yes. Tell me about how important that is, what you would have hoped someone would have given you if you didn't receive it, and how we can just be there for a person going through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Community is everything. We are not meant to be isolated.
Yeah.
We are beings that are meant to be social. We
Yes.
are not meant to be isolated. So throughout my pursuit, I found a ton of communities, right? But nothing that spoke to me in a sense of, and listen, I'm all about the integration, but I really am about the holistic viewpoint.
Right.
So what can we do to make sure that we are catering to ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically?
Yeah.
And so when I started writing the book, I then, shortly after, a year after, I developed Holistic Human Performance, my business. And from there, I wanted it to be a community of people who were interested in learning about these things, because so when I got this surgery 10 years ago, they didn't tell me that I could go get acupuncture.
Oh, wow.
They didn't tell me to get massage. They didn't tell me to do breath work. They didn't tell me to do these things to help maintain health.
Yes.
And going through the treatment.
Thank you. Just come back in a year. Come back in 6 months.
That's
we'll
it.
See exactly.
I had to figure it out on my own.
Wow. Yeah.
And even my parents, they were, I'm kind of the black sheep when it comes to that. So I still had to do that extra learning on my own.
Right.
Again, wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah.
And being involved in community also really helped me. At first, when I started to share my story, and it makes sense because I had thyroid cancer. So if you think of the thyroid, that is the throat chakra, which is a wheel of energy, an energy point.
Right.
Connected to the gland, the thyroid. When you don't speak your truth, when you don't share your story, when you don't communicate.
Wow.
This is where stagnant energy.
Exactly.
And where dis-ease comes into play. And so this is what I educate people on. How can we learn about the human energy system? How can we learn about the human anatomy and physiology system and combine the two? Or instead of just attacking it from just a physical standpoint, let's attack it from all angles.
Yes.
And let's heal while we're going
From
through the journey.
Inside out. Yes.
And so community is everything. And again, it's close to impossible to go through that on your own.
Yeah.
I do know people that have, but it was a struggle for them. And that's why I, built this community, because I really want to educate and also integrate
I love that.
these things.
Yeah.
So
that's very, very important. It is. And I know that it helped you as well,
Yeah.
and to bring other people along on this journey, not just if they have cancer or have any illness. This is good for us just in general.
Yep.
So how important is, the fact that we maintain this healthy mind, body, and spirit balance, and also mentally, make sure that we're strong every day and not just appearing to be so on the outside.
Yeah, so I like to describe it as like, this is the vessel to the soul, right? This is just our little jackets, our costume. And so when we come into this earth, we have these soul contracts, and we each need to learn specific lessons. Every single person is different though.
Yes.
I have a different journey from you. You have a different journey from me.
Very true.
XYZ. And so if you're not healthy enough, your physical body is not healthy enough to carry your soul along throughout the journey and throughout the lifetime, you're not going to be able to complete your mission and purpose, which is a loaded question. And a lot of people can get very turned off by that because again, you're being stuck in the victim mentality.
Exactly.
And so it's a matter of looking at it from that angle. It's like, well, if I'm healthy enough, then I can do the things that I love and I can also make money in doing what I love.
Yes, yes.
And then I can also help other people and that person helps this. It's just this ripple effect.
Right.
And I almost envision it like someone holding a candle and then that candle is lighting this candle.
Yes. Yes.
And it's just this ripple effect. And, you know, it's super important. Like, let's be real. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything.
That's right. That is so right.
I talk to so many people who, between students, clients, people on social media, having conversations with you. And, you know, so many people they have to make this shift in their belief system, which is very hard to do.
Yes, it is. Yes,
it's very hard to change someone's belief system.
Yes, it is.
Close to impossible.
Which is why we're on this mission, and you're doing what you're doing, and I'm doing what I'm doing.
Exactly. And so being able to just educate people and giving them easy tools to be like, hey, this is basically free, like breath work.
Yes.
Breath work is free, and that is our life force energy. And most people don't breathe properly.
No, not at all.
And that can cause anxiety, overwhelm, burnout, depression, all of these diseases that come into play. And I believe that if we're taught about the human energy system and what a role it plays sooner on, like kids need to learn this.
Very soon. Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
It is crucial. I mean, look at the suicide rates trickling down to middle school.
Yes. Yes.
It's we're taught the separation from our soulful self.
Exactly.
And that poses huge problems on a mental level, an emotional level, on an energetic level, a spiritual level, and a physical level.
Yes, yes.
And so basically what happens is we have our auric field and we have these layers of bodies, which are, you know, the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And whenever someone is diagnosed with a disease, something like cancer, that started on an energetic level and then seeped into the physical body.
Yes.
So if we can nip it in the butt,
thank you,
beforehand, from the beginning, then maybe we don't need to go through this.
Exactly.
No. And you know, whatever's meant to be is meant to be. But again, why not just try?
Exactly. Just
so
try.
You don't have to
live
in fear.
Thank you. And live in fear of something that you not necessarily can control, but you can at least make it palatable, comfortable, you know, and you can still be happy even through it, you know, and that's what I think really is important. It's the mindset behind it. So when did you finally feel this? Oh my God, like I got it. Like I'm good. My body is fine. I look good, but now I'm actually feeling really, really good, head to toe.
I would say recently.
Really?
Yeah, kind of recently. Yeah.
Okay.
I would say like probably end of 2021 when I published the book. I mean, even though like, so when I wrote the book and then it's like you write it, but then you're like, I have to market it.
Yes.
Which means I have to be seen.
Exactly.
Which means I have to share my story.
Thank you. Means you have to talk.
So that was a hurdle for me.
Yeah.
And so like being vulnerable in that way. And so once I kind of we call it shadow work. So it's bringing light to those dark places within you that need that healing. And so once I started to do that work, I started to develop this confidence, which develops competency, which goes back to confidence. And then I could speak about my story with emotion, but not being emotional.
Right.
So I could, you know, stand in my truth and stand in my power and be able to share that message with other people.
Yeah.
So I would say kind of recently, like end of 2021, it started to really all come together. And honestly, I've never felt better in my life.
I know, I can believe it. As I mentioned to you, even talking to you on the phone for the first time, I felt this spiritual light, this sunshine coming from this woman's voice. I was sharing stuff with her, and I don't even share with my friends and family members.
We had a great conversation.
We did. And I was like, it's something about you that I just feel so at ease talking to you.
Yeah.
And you had such great advice and information. And, you know, I shared with you, you know, the medical issues in my family. And you gave me just such hope and inner peace with what I was already thinking and what I need to share, you know, and the fact that you're living it right now. And she looks amazing. You would never think 3 to 6 years old, you had leukemia. You would never know at 20 years old after competition that you had thyroid cancer.
Yeah.
Now you're in this place of healing others.
Yeah.
So tell us first about Holistic Human Performance and exactly what do you offer?
Yeah. So after the book, there was still this more. There's more. I knew that I was going to write another book.
Okay.
But I also knew that I needed to kind of bring forth this business. I do have an entrepreneurship mindset.
Yes.
My parents are entrepreneurs. It kind of runs in my family, actually. And entrepreneurship, by the way, is a spiritual journey.
Oh, yes, it is.
And so when you kind of like, again, it was just this like download of like, okay, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
I had to let some things go. I was like, all right, this isn't serving me anymore. I have to like let this go and move on. And so with that, I took the chapters of my book and developed Holistic Human Performance, which ultimately is a virtual wellness center.
Nice.
where I educate people through digital self-paced courses and then on-demand videos. So mobility flows, breath work, 5-minute resets, interviews, meditations, nutrition talks and seminars, all of these things where I can educate, but also you can take these tools and integrate.
Right.
And throughout the process, I developed the Cancer Fear Freedom program and course.
Nice.
And so people who are actively going through cancer, really have been touched by cancer in any way, shape, or form, can take this information, and I split it up into basically what I developed Holistic Human Performance off of were these 5 buckets of holism, which is the interconnection of mind, body, soul.
Right.
Now with that, I said, okay, this is the foundation to what I'm building and my teachings, basically, which is called the Sacred Connection Method, which, by the way, is going to be its second book.
Wow, I love that.
So I'm teaching.
You heard it here, folks.
Yes. And so I'm teaching other people about the human energy system through these 5 buckets.
Okay.
Mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and energetic.
Okay.
A lot of people forget about the energetic portion.
Yes.
Which is everything. Energy is everything. And so that bucket, any of them really, if they're empty or overflowing, it's gonna create a domino effect.
Right.
Energy is what connects all of those buckets together.
Yes, they do. Yes, it does.
And so with that, I built, this virtual wellness center, one-on-one holistic health and energy coaching. I also have to add throughout the trajectory. So I was very much stuck in I want to say the fitness industry.
Right.
Not that I wanted to let it go. It's still a part of me, but not 100% what I'm going to be doing.
Okay.
There's more to it. And so I was going to a networking event a couple years ago that I did not want to go to at all. And those are the moments where
you're supposed to
go.
Yes.
And so I'm like, all right, I'll go. And my mom was supposed to come with me. She didn't feel good. She didn't want to go. I'm like, all right, I'll go. And I met this woman. Her name is Tiffany Cohen. She's the founder of Spirit and Soul Studio in Babylon. And that changed the trajectory of my entire life.
Wow.
And what I built Holistic Human Performance off of.
Right.
Where it's that integration of the science and spirituality, teaching people about holistic living. Why is aromatherapy beneficial for our health? And, again, it's not taking away from the Western medical field, but let's be real, it's a money-making machine.
Yes.
And we need to focus more on that Eastern medicine
Yes.
and create the integration between both.
Yes.
You know, I'm not telling you to do one versus the other.
Yeah.
I'm giving you the information, take with what you want
Yeah.
and integrate it into
in
your life.
the best way you can. I'm a huge proponent of people learning alternative ways to heal themselves. I've been a person that have been prescribed a million things over my lifetime to not take them at all, know my body, know what my body is supposed to feel like, and would prefer to find a more holistic approach rather than to be hopped up on medication for the rest of my life. And I think that that's what all doctors need to be teaching for whatever illness it is. It could be something as simple as gastro,
intestinal issues,
exactly, anything like that. And instead of telling me that I need to be on a gas pill or anti-acid for the rest of my life, tell me what kind of foods I need to be eating. Tell me, what kind of meditations I should be doing to kind of cleanse my body, my spirit, and my soul in that moment so that I can unblock whatever is causing those issues. So I think that is very important. And I'm glad that you're teaching that. So, the time is winding down. Tell me what is the community other than, cancer patients you are serving? And, basically what are they learning and what are they sharing with you?
Yeah. So I see two different kinds of people.
Okay.
I see those who are touched by cancer
Okay.
in any way, shape, or form. And then I see those who have no clue where to turn when it comes to trying to take a deep dive or trying to shift their lifestyle to more of this alternative approach.
Right.
And so that's where I come in.
Okay.
I teach the basics. I'm helping you on your journey of learning about the integration of energy and also of the holistic living, the science behind it. Okay, what does your body need to eat? Because I'm not going to eat the same way you're eating.
Exactly.
So it's very individualized.
Right.
And so with that, when I do the one-on-one coaching, I also give them access to the virtual wellness center so that they can educate on their own.
Wow.
And then I can be like, hey, go listen to this meditation or go do this mobility flow, depending on what they're going through.
Right.
I kind of take it as the approach of, okay, what bucket is empty or overflowing?
Right.
And then we start there.
Okay.
And so that's how I kind of break it down. But those are the two different kinds of people that I see.
I love that.
Thanks.
So in terms of finding that energy, because that is important, real quick, if you could share with us, because that's the first tool. How do you do that? What are you teaching to actually hone in that energy?
Yeah. So I would say if you're someone who does not know what you want, does not know your non-negotiables, do not know your boundaries or have none, which so many people have none.
Exactly.
If you hate yourself, if you are lost and have no clue where to go and your head is spinning, this is where you need to start.
I see.
If you can't sit with yourself, you need to do the most work.
Yeah.
So that's where energy comes into play.
Yeah.
I would say write out a list of those things that I just spoke about. What are your non-negotiables? What are the things you want? What are your desires? What are your needs?
Right.
What are your goals? How do you want to live your life? Most people cannot tell you that.
Yeah, you're right.
So that is one of the first places I would say to start. If you can write that out, and it gets you thinking, it gets you pondering, like, what are my actual goals?
Right, right.
Who am I?
What is my purpose?
What is my purpose?
Yeah,
Who am I?
Yeah.
And then kind of evaluating, what does health actually mean to me?
Yeah.
That question that a lot of people can't answer, what is health? What does it mean to you?
Yeah.
And what does that enable you to do in this lifetime?
Exactly. Yeah, I love that. That's a great message. Let me ask you also real quick, what was your biggest challenge? And try to break that down to me real quickly. What was your biggest challenge?
I think my biggest challenge was working on the emotional aspect. And also, I would say, when you go through a near-death experience, I would highly implore people to always listen to near-death experiences because it's so fascinating what the underlying, every single person has a different experience, but the underlying message is the same.
Yeah.
Bringing peace and love into your life and bringing yourself into these higher vibrations to help the collective move on and evolve. And so I would say my biggest challenge was actually that spiritual pride that I didn't have
Right.
and didn't even know I had.
Mm.
And being the black sheep in my family
Yeah.
and kind of having to still shine my light regardless of what other people were thinking.
Yes.
Because again, when we have these spiritual blocks, when we have these limiting beliefs and these, you know, these low vibration emotions that take over,
Mhm.
it's going to be very challenging
Yeah.
to complete your mission and purpose here on this life.
Oh, yes.
And so when you can honor that and
Mhm.
when you could be like, all right, I really got to do the work. Like,
Yeah.
why am I, what are these blocks? Where did they originate from?
Yes.
What, and a lot of it stems from childhood.
Yes, it does.
Most
girl.
of it does.
Yes, it does.
And so I had to go all the way back to when I was 3.5 years old
Yeah.
and go through those painful moments.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it was not easy.
I know.
It was very painful.
Yeah.
But I think of it this way. If you're going to go through a painful moment, right?
Mhm.
And again, your body will let you know when it's time to let it go.
Yes, it does.
Which it did.
Yeah.
And I had to, like, I was a migraine sufferer. They're gone.
You see? Yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah.
I had to work on the
Because
energetic
of your
part.
journey.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love
So-
that. I love that. I hope everyone is listening to her story and actually what she did to heal herself. It is so important. We're going to put up your book real quick, but what
Thank
I
you.
want you to tell me is, what do you have to share with the survivors out there?
I would say you are the owner. It is your birthright to take ownership of your health.
Yes.
Nobody else is going to do it except for you.
Yes.
So take your power back, learn your innate wisdom, learn what you want in this life, and go take action and go
Yes.
learn about things. You're the only person in charge of your life. Nobody else is going to do it for you except for
Exactly.
you.
Yes.
And you were born with that birthright. So take ownership over it.
I love it. I love it. Please, let's put up her information. Thank you so much, Jennifer,
Thank
being
you.
here. You got to come back, my friend.
I will.
Yes, you
My
do.
pleasure.
I'm having an event next month, so I want you to come back and shine your light upon it. Okay.
Absolutely.
This is her information, ladies and gentlemen. Please look her up on her website as well as follow her on IG. Thank you again, my love. I
Thank
so
you so
appreciate
much.
it. So we're going to get real quick to the Dare to Be You. And the Dare to Be You is: every trial in life makes us bitter or better. Every problem we face will either break us or make us. In the end, it's our choice whether we became a victim or a survivor. And as Jenna and I mentioned today, we are going to be survivors, and we implore you to do the same thing. Go out there and fight for your life. You get all the necessary battle material that you need in order to heal yourself from the inside and out. I want you to just thank you so much for watching another episode of Your Our Unity. I want to thank you, Jenna, for being here and
Thank
just
you.
sharing so much wisdom and information and your story with our viewers. We're going to see you next week on Your Our Unity. Please remember that peace and love is in the palm of our hand. So let's go out there and be some love, give some love, and share some love. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you next week. And remember, we love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Strong Island Entertainment.